Welcome back everyone to my channel, where we talk about saving money, making money, and keeping more of what you make. It's me. I'm an accountant, and this is my channel. So if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It's free. You can always come back later and take a look at some of the other videos that might be useful for you. So today I wanted to talk about the Canada Revenue Agency and the IRS. Now if you watch my videos, you probably know I like to talk about taxes because taxes impact all of us. And it's important to understand how taxes work so that you don't get into trouble with the tax authorities, but also so that you can take advantage of every deduction and credit that you're entitled to so that you keep more of what you make. Now, the Canada Revenue Agency and the IRS have something in common. They both want your money. However, they both have very different tax systems. The US has one of the highest tax rates in the world for individuals. We know that Canada's tax rates are pretty high as well, especially for corporations. So there has been a lot of talk over the last couple years about people moving from the US to Canada because of the tax rates. But now there is going to be a new tax treaty between the two countries, which will impact all US citizens living in Canada and Canadian residents who live in the United States. This tax treaty was signed in 2022, but it doesn't actually come into effect until 2025. And this could be a problem for a lot of people. So let's take a look at what it means. Okay. So, this tax treaty between the US and Canada was created to avoid double taxation. So, when you have a tax treaty between two countries, neither country can tax you for the same income. So, say you live in Canada and you're working for a US company, you would only have to pay taxes to the Canada Revenue Agency. If you were to move to the United States, you would no longer have to pay taxes to the Canada Revenue Agency, because now you're a US resident for tax purposes. But here's where things get interesting. The United States taxes its citizens no matter where they are in the world. So if you're a US citizen living in Canada, you still have to file a tax return with the IRS, and you have to pay taxes on your worldwide income. Now, when you're filing your tax return with the Canada Revenue Agency, you don't have to pay taxes on your foreign income. But if you're a US citizen living in Canada, you still have to report that foreign income on your US tax return. So that means you're paying taxes to both countries on the same dollar. That's called double taxation. And that's why we have tax treaties to avoid that happening. This new tax treaty between the US and Canada says that you'll no longer have to pay taxes to the US on pension, income, and capital gains. So, if you're retiring or you've retired and you're living in Canada, you'll no longer have to pay taxes to the US on those items. However, it does not say anything about employment income, which is kind of weird, because a lot of people who are moving to Canada are moving there for work, and they're bringing their families with them. So this tax treaty looks like it's going to benefit retirees more than people who are working. One good thing about this tax treaty is that it gives US citizens 5 years to report any offshore income that they did unreport in the past, and this could be beneficial to a lot of people. If you didn't report that income, you may have to pay a penalty. However, the penalty is less if you self-report it within 5 years. So if you're living in Canada and you're a US citizen and you didn't report income to the IRS because you thought you didn't have to, now's your chance to do it because you won't have to pay a penalty. When you file your tax return, you'll have to pay taxes on that income, but you won't have to pay a penalty. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Are you a US citizen living in Canada? Have you retired and you're moving to Canada? Or are you a Canadian citizen living in the US? Please let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to my channel. It's free. And please check out these videos that you might find interesting. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.